Hey family, so this is a recording of the Cthulhu Death May Die Fear of the Unknown Kickstarter that just launched yesterday at 8 p.m. As you can see, it's doing tremendously well, already over £500,000 UK in the backing there. And we've still got 13 days to go, so only 8 p.m. last night. It's now 10:30 in the morning UK time. Currently we only have the one option to back. I'm sure we will see a slurry of additional add-ons and no doubt an all-in pledge added to this. But for now, this is what we have. So it is 1 to 5 players, age 14 plus, takes around 90 minutes to play. For those that already have seen either the playthroughs on my channel, the original Cthulhu Death May Die, or have the original game, I think that's an accurate measure on the time. The 14 plus, I think, more probably to do with the graphical nature of the horror in the game rather than the complexity of play. But this is a fantastic game. This is season 3 and it's fully backward compatible with all the original seasons 1 and 2, and of course the Unspeakable Box components as well. So we get an extra additional insanities included, a new old one to fight against, with new tokens. And the process is the same in terms of stop the ritual, make the older one vulnerable, and of course prevent it from consuming our world. So the oldest and strongest emotion of mankind is fear, and the oldest and strongest kind of fear is fear of the unknown. It's the principle of what we're seeing here. So we've got new rules being introduced as well. So we've got unknown monster dashboards being added to the side of the summoning track, the main game board, so that will enable us to add additional monsters, because of course who doesn't want more monsters to be slaying on the way to madness. And in addition to that, we also have a number of relics, which are new powerful items that you get at the start of the game. Each character comes with one of these, and when you reach the 3 points on your insanity, you maybe believe that these are relics of incredible power, and thus they change the impact of the game. So you'd effectively flip these over and reveal a more powerful aspect of this card and gain additional benefits to gameplay. We've got various testimonials. As I mentioned, we've got the base pledge now, so it comes with 10 investigators as the original did. So we've got those there, and we've got 28 cultists and monsters. So beautiful to see some nice new cultist sculpts. So we can add those to the mix. And we've got some ghasts, look a bit Gollum-esque perhaps. We've got a serpent man. We've got some fisher from outside, bit pterodactylisk. Gia Jotun. It's at this point in the video you kind of realise, oh, I've just started to say all these names, maybe I shouldn't have bothered. But anyway, Gia Jotun, 2 of those. We have Gugs, 2 of those. We have Dol and the Unnameable. And of course the Elder box includes Satagua and the Morphous Scion, 2 of those accompanying it. So in the typical fashion, we've got the 4 Elder One cards, so there'll be stages, and you'd have to defeat the Elder One, get a minion card, verify what the cultist status is, so these aren't changed from the original. So just the actual look of the miniatures themselves. We also come with fatigue tokens that get put out upon your character boards and then have impacts throughout the game. And of course the 8 mythos cards that get shuffled in with whatever particular scenario it is you're playing. You also get in the core box the Elder Asatoth, with the Dancers of Asatoth, 4 of those out on the board. Likewise there, mythos cards and cosmic tokens. So what we've got, +1, and just see how they operate. You've got the original storyboard where you get the summoning track across here, and then this is the unknown board that adds on to the side. So this is where the additional monsters are, and then nicely they've included at the top here the end of turn, which was originally on the back of the rulebook, but nice to have it out on the table with the rest of the components. 16 double-sided tiles. The original, these are really nice quality tiles. Brilliant graphics throughout. The only one quibble I came across on the graphics was just the doors, perhaps. The delineation between zones could have been a little bit better. I did end up taking, on my personal playthroughs, using physical doors just to help capture that and denote that a bit better from a visibility perspective. But that way the arrows system works well enough, and obviously doesn't, it tries not to detract too much from the original artwork, which is very nice and much appreciated. Get obviously the 10 investigators, the original dice included here. I liked to see the fact that actually we've got some different colours being included in these tentacle tokens. Now, whether obviously the final will come out with these same colours, but hopefully they do, and that's really nice. You get a whole different bunch of colours to add to the mix from the original set. 7 unknown monster cards, so these get additional baddies on the board. 8 new insanity cards, hoping and everyone in the community is hoping we'll see a lot more of these coming. 20 relic cards, so that's nice, get a good level of variety there. 4 mythos cards and 53 tokens. You've got your usual sort of fire tokens, health tokens, some portals. Obviously this is an original core box, so it's completely standalone. And we get the 6 episode boxes with their episode cards and mythos cards to get mixed in, and relevant tokens accompany those. There is a prototype copy of the rulebook available on the Kickstarter site, so you can of course go and have a look at that and see how that plays out, and the new rules of course. And I believe there is as well a demo available on Tabletop Simulator now, so the original base prototype that's been issued out to a number of YouTube reviewers, that is available to fire up and have a bash at in the simulator. And there's a number of gameplay views and reviews, and of course you get when we see more out, a nice version of all these mini prototypes all beautifully painted up here. So we've got the various investigators, the monsters, the elder ones. Obviously the miniatures do not come pre-painted, and then we've already begun to start unlocking a number of exclusive content stretch goals, so that is what we'll dig into next. Okay, so welcome to update number 1. The ritual begins. The ritual has begun. Death May Die. Fear of the unknown is funded in less than 20 minutes. We thank you all for your faith and supporting this project, and for walking the path to the unknown with us once again. So before we gaze into what's coming next, let's take a close look at Antonio, the Kickstarter exclusive investigator that comes with the unknowable pledge. So Antonio Senatore from San Marino. I'd not be surprised to find some old one blood in my veins. So Antonio does not waste what could be humanity's last precious moments dwelling upon questions of the past. Regardless of the mysterious origins of his skills, one thing is certain. He is as much a threat to the great old ones and their followers as they are to the world we know. Gaining Aeon knowledge as his ability. Every time the Elder One advances in the summoning track, supported by his arcane mastery and brawling, Antonio can initially use the power he acquires to heal himself and to push enemies away. But his true strength lies in dominating his skill, as once he grows more proficient, he becomes able to eliminate them, and even cancel effects triggered by the incoming Elder arrival. So there's his miniature. So we've got the sculpted, painted versions where they look to unlock James Dalton from London, United Kingdom, in his hunter's outfit. So let's have a look at what it tells us about James there. So ever since his time aboard, James has never pondered about his sanity. Instead, he focuses on taking down whatever is on his sights. As a trophy hunter, Daviau got proficient with chasing targets that he marked with hunted tokens and collected various benefits when doing so. This, combined with his marksman and toughness basic skills, makes him one of the most efficient investigators when it comes to controlling the monster population on the board. The great old one stirs. Sleep tight. So with update number 2, what we see is putting everything back in order. We hit the target to unlock James, and it's time for us to now have a look at Amelie Crow, Buxton, United Kingdom. I do not know how it happens. It just does. So let's have a look at her abilities. Some people find themselves not only dragged into adventure, but being a conceptual part of it, a central part of it. That's the case with Amelie, who suddenly found her happy but ordinary life swirling out of control, just like the gates. Through mysterious influences. In proximity of gates, she's able to re-roll a die and even decide its results through her unique gate influence skill. Considering she also has marksman and arcane mastery, Amelie is almost guaranteed to obtain numerous positive results whenever rolling her dice. There she is. So that was our second unlock. New tricks for old. Update number 3. Season 1 and 2 unknown monsters. 16 unknown monster cards added to the core box. So reaching a 280,000. All the original monsters that came in season 1 and 2 episodes, if you have such goodies, which I do, can now be playable as unknown monsters through the unknown rules. So that's additional baddies on the board. So we've got the Fire Vampire, the Biaki, the Ghoul, the Cholic Entity, the Deep One, Hunting Horror, Shoggoth, Shocho, Elder Thing, Night Gaunt, Flying Polyp, Star Vampires, Bokrog, Hunter, Tyndalos, Yug, and a Dimensional Shambler are all available. But we'd say a double feature. That's right. We have also, as Kickstarter exclusive content, unlocked the capability to add all of the the Unspeakable box as unknown monsters as well. So we've got the Migo, the Yithian, and the Cold Masters and lost episodes all able to be added. So that's lots of extra content thrown onto the board, and the way that these additional characters monsters work is they don't just get the dice rolls and the abilities life of the predecessors, but they actually have direct impact on the game. Every time the Elder One advances, these things will be coming onto the board, they'll be activating, they'll be messing with you, as too does the Elder One as it ebbs further and further along its track to breaching our realm. So let's go ahead and have a peek further as to what else awaits us. So Ryan Martell from Atlanta, Georgia. Focus everything on one task at a time. Ignore the insanity around you. Let's have a look at his miniature here. So, intensity was always part of Ryan's lifestyle. Actually, it was the whole of it. Be it in his art pieces, some even considered to be too intense, or dedicating his efforts to stopping cosmic horrors. Ryan always gives in his all. His intense skill grants him multiple bonus dice to attack, provided he hasn't run during that turn, which can fit his style quite well, considering he's also a marksman. If he does decide to run, however, he also gains a bonus dice, which can help combine with stealth skill, as long as he doesn't attack. This full commitment to performing one action to the fullest continues until he reaches maximum intensity, gaining bonus for the chosen action without restrictions. So here he is with his gun waiting for the elders to stir. Moving on to update number 4, A Nightmare in the Waking World. and the unlocking of the TTS Tabletop Simulator module, so you can go online and have a play. So here is a sneaky peek at the unknown cards that we just unlocked. So you've got the 3 additionals from the unknown box and everything from Season 1, Season 2. And as mentioned, you can go and click a link here on the update. I believe it's now also on the front page of the Kickstarter to go and actually test it out in Tabletop Simulator, which you can access via Steam on PC. And you can play through a basic episode here. I say basic as a full episode with the unknown monsters and the older one. Sathogua. There we go, get my brain in gear. Okay, so arriving from the dreamland then comes a creature that will keep you awake at night, the Zoog. That's very, very little beastie. So Zoog, an intelligent race of creatures that reside primarily in the dreamlands. It'll be interesting to see if we maybe see some more of this content unlock regards to Dreamlands. I think there's more content we'll see in terms of the monsters coming later from this arena. While diminutive creatures are easily dispatched by lone investigators, Zoog are rarely encountered alone, and 2 or more can rapidly overwhelm an adult human, usually devouring their victim raw. Zoog have a strange and inexplicable hatred of cats, although this may be born from an enmity for the cats from Saturn. Terrestrial felines are a favourite food of theirs, and they will gleefully stalk and kill any that they can find. It's fun to say, Zoog, Zoog! Ain't fun to run into, though. From Anika. Okay. So they may look tiny and fuzzy and somewhat cute, but needless to say, don't let their appearance fool you. Zoogs may be little, but they're quite smart and know that their strength comes in numbers. Zoogs in the same space always attack and defend themselves together, rolling 1 standard and 1 bonus die for each member of their pack. This would be fine if they weren't so rarely alone. As the elder one moves at a summoning chat, more Zoogs are summoned to the nearest gate, and each Zoog is present, increasing their population quickly. If not managed, their little group might just be the reason for the investigator's demise. So we've got a beautiful little sculpt there, flipping bulging eyes, flailing tongue. Love it. So, as if for that update, and accompanying the Zoog on update 5, what you can't see can't hurt you. Or can she? Adora, the investigator, for Adora Rocha from Sao Paulo, Brazil. These creatures aren't the only terrifying thing to haunt the dark. So, as a master of espionage, Adora uses her slightly sought-out skills to take advantage of what she thought were the crummiest creatures of the world, that is, until she came across the occult forces of the cultists' intentions. It was easy to change her focus then, using her unique spy training, combined with her natural swiftness and brawling background. Isadora is capable of neutralizing and sneaking past enemies wounded by her attacks without breaking a sweat. She may even heal stress and take down monsters with a single sneak attack as she upgrades her skills. There's her miniature and the painted version. Very good. Run, Steve, run! Update number 6. Steve, the investigator figure, Kickstarter exclusive and dashboard. Steve Wainwright, Galveston, Texas. Worst part is some of these things are really dang slimy. So, with a heart as big as his strength, Steve never thought twice before using his talents to defeat evil and keep people safe from harm. After all, fighting monsters and cultists is not that different from playing against the opposing team. Running fast, thanks to his swiftness, Steve throws himself at the enemies to tackle and push them away, wounding them in the process, but not himself due to his toughness. When enemies see Steve running their way, they can bet the fight is already over. Love it. brilliant. So charges in and causes direct damage to the enemies in the space. Now move on to update number 7. Toil without song is like a weary journey without an end. Now it's time for us to see who's arriving next. The Kickstarter exclusive Taylor Renner. New York, New York. No, there's actually a violin in that one. The gun case is over there. Good music roots itself in the listener's brain. Great music unlocks a plethora of emotions and memories. Taylor's Song of Death does much more than that. Her musical abilities found a dangerous connection with the unknown, which unfortunately she employs against the eldritch threats, placing tokens on enemies that hinder and harm them. To complement her set, she's also traded stealth and swiftness, which allows her great movement capabilities across the map. And there she is in all her painted glory. But it continues, update number 8. In space, no one can hear you purr. So much to our surprise and dismay, it turns out that Zog's enemies and sometimes prey were hot on their trails. That's right, we encounter then the cat from Saturn. So we get 5 of these little monsters added to the fray. Cat is an intelligent, aloof and deadly race of feline-like creatures who make their homes in the dreamlands of Saturn and other unearthly places of the solar system. They're easily larger than most bobcats and show extreme hostility towards terrestrial feline they encounter. While it's rare to encounter a Saturn cat on Earth, it's not an unknown phenomenon where the cults are concerned. They do not appear to be aligned with any particular elder god, but much like terrestrial felines, their motives are often quite mysterious. So these creatures don't seem particularly loyal to anyone but themselves. Curiously enough, they seem to enjoy the struggles of both cultists and investigators against one another, but the investigators seem to be more interested in prey, though. These felines have developed a surprisingly flurry of quick attacks that make investigators lose items and companions when they take any wounds from them. Companions are the additional cards that you would pick up and slot under either side, left or right. That tended to be on the right hand side and items to the left. So, update number 9. What do we get? Saving the World is a business in and of itself. So, with Kickstarter exclusive, Akido Sato Saka, Japan. There he is, and his miniature. So, Saito is a serious, rigorous man who's reached the top of face that challenges the reckless world of business and bloodthirsty competitors. His achievements never clouded his judgment, neither did the underhand proposals of the cult. To survive in this ruthless world of business, Sato developed a keen rigour, a skill that allows him to suffer a wound to set as one die to any result. Gives him the means to control his own fate, eventually being able to modify more dice and choose to take stress instead of wounds if he invests in his skill. But that's not all he brings to the table. His brawling allows him to make multiple enemies and empowers his close attacks with swiftness and no mobility, so he can get up close to the enemies. There he is, his miniature and painted form. So then we saw update number 10. We had a lot of updates in this, not even been 24 hours, or been just over 12 hours now. Investigator Amir Sese from La Sierra Leone. So let's have a look. So Amir perfectly understands the dangers of the elder ones that the cults represents, but as a holy man, Amir prefers to walk his world sharing messages of love and forgiveness. Carrier of arcane masteries, positiveness and benevolence, attitude truly spirit lifting, helping investigators to heal stress and gain lifted tokens. Okay, which allows them to perform extra actions. Nice. His healing rather than offensive demeanour also makes him quite efficient in stealth, as he often passes unnoticed by enemies. In his painted glory. Very good. So then we also saw update number 11, The Great Old One Stirs. What does it dream about? So the next goal is Hypnos, the monster figure and card. So, it can be difficult to tell friend from foe at times. Hui Kong. So the existence of the elder gods does not preclude the existence of human gods. Hypnos may have been one such being from the distant past. If this creature is indeed the Greek god of sleep, then it has been driven insane by some encounter, possibly with elder gods that exist throughout and beyond space and time. Given what investigators know about the Dreamlands, which would be a natural domain for Hypnos, one can believe it. It seems Hypnos cannot be destroyed, only banished, whereupon it remains an existential threat. There we go. So investigators are used to the idea of killing elder gods, but there's something else fighting the gods of their own mythology. That is, if such a thing can even be killed, if it exists only in the realms of dreams and nightmares. When investigators face Hypnos on their field, they must make difficult choices, for as soon as Hypnos is defeated, he shifts into the realm of sleep, with his figure being placed next to the dashboard of the nearest investigator. While he remains there, the investigator loses 2 sanity at the end of each turn, and as their walking life becomes a living nightmare, Hypnos stays there and until summoned again. So it is better to let Hypnos loose on the field, attacking investigators, or to confront him, to banish him, and risk going insane. So it's very interesting and different mechanics being introduced there. Some beautiful sculpting on that miniature, and you get an idea of the size of Hypnos compared to the investigators as well. So that's really nice. So that's coming with that update. And then we have update number 12 of 13. We're nearly there now. So we have an additional investigator. It's Jim Cannon of Springfield, Missouri. Let's have a look. So what does he bring to the fray? So when he retired, he had the chance. Jim would have told you it was his life well lived. Working as an investigator and fighting back elder ones turned out to be even better life for him. It was hard for this veteran hunter to lay down his rifle, and things he's hunting down make for a hell of a story. His signature skill, Game Hunter, grants him extra dice when attacking monsters and even more dice when performing multiple attacks per round. Should he pursue this path, this skill goes as far as applying its bonus against the real big game, the elder ones. It should be no surprise that he's armed with marksman, as his skill for toughness as well, rounding out this kit. Jim is an excellent choice against monsters of all kinds. And there he is, painted up, ready for action. And so the final update that came in, human laws of the validity in the vast cosmos at large. We were introduced to Karen Mendel of Cardiff, the United Kingdom. Let's have a look. What did she bring to the fray? As a police officer, it's only natural to Karen sees a lot of crazy stuff. She never considered, however, just how crazy things could be. When she came face to face with cosmic horrors, it was her time to put the law aside so that order could prevail. Never abandoning authoritative attitude, toughness and brawling, Karen is able to command enemies as far as 2 spaces away from her, gaining bonus dice when attacking in a space filled with enemies, which reaches the maximum level of her skill. There we go, fantastic. So, the great old one stirs. Sleep tight. Thank you for watching, family, and I'll be back with more insights into this wonderful world of madness as we unlock more content. Thanks for watching.